Reusse Unchained time. And Patrick, I got a text right before we started that you wanted to talk about the red hot New York Knicks and Karl-Anthony Towns. So the floor is
No.
yours.
Yeah, now we'll find out how red hot they are because they're going to Oklahoma City, which is won,
Whew.
what, 12 in a row or something.
Yes.
Ate our boys lunch defensively the other night. We were whining about the officials. I watched that game. They were tapping the ball away from you about every other minute. So it was, I didn't see the officials being a big part of that. But anyway, last night, the football game's out of hand. I started watching the Knicks. The second half, Cat is out of his mind. He's out of his mind. I think he had 21 or two rebounds. He had 30 points. But have you seen these drives he's doing to the basket? He just, in what looks to be impossible situations, he just goes in and dunks it left handed or right handed over bodies. We've never seen this guy. He's incredible the way he's playing. Brunson wasn't playing last night. He didn't play, so they kind of gave him a night off because they figured they'd beat Utah anyway, I guess. But Utah's not helpless. They got the big guy. They got Markkinen and Cat's. He's leading the league in rebounds, right? He's
Yeah.
14 a game or something. But I think he's got a big streak of having at least 10 rebounds in a game. He's playing a maniac. They got this Josh Hart and the one of the Villanova guys, not a great shooter. He's a guard. He's 6'4". He's averaging like 12 rebounds a game.
14 last night. Cat had
Ti-
21. He had four. Hart had
Yeah,
14.
Tibbs is Tibbs is and they're beating Utah by 20 with 3 minutes to go. Cat's out there, Hart's out there, all these guys. Tibbs is on the sidelines frowning. Now there's 40 seconds to go. They're still out there, and he's still frowning. It's and the Nick crowd loves the Cat Man, and the Nick broadcasters, the telecasters, were saying, "Well, he did such a great. He had a different role with Minnesota because he had Edwards and he had Rudy and Bear, so they weren't really ripping the Timberwolves. They were just saying the truth that this guy's gone nuts. He's going to be the starting center in the for the East in the All Star game. So I don't know what that means, but God, he's playing good. I thought, I got to admit, I was 100% wrong. I thought the I've had my moments of being down on him. He didn't, missed a lot of games, and he'd pout and complain about the official. Now, I will say, he actually had a triple double because he did have at least 10 bitches at the officials that it should have been a foul when I was watching. So he has that part of his foul every once in a while. Even in New York with the crowd full, you can hear foul. But when he goes to the basket, but man, he's playing good. It's it's you can see why the Timberwolves fans elevated him in their status after the trade. I thought because he was not that ungodly popular here until after the trade. But the way he's playing now, I can see why people are upset. So anyway,
Pat, do you think so? Celtics are 4.5 point favorites coming to Target Center and national TV, but it's at 6:30, so you don't have to worry about
that's right. That's
8:30
great.
national TV, but it's at 8:56. I think this one will actually start on time around 6:30. How do you think the Wolves will line up against the Celtics?
The Celtics have had a few games where they aren't making their threes, and they're beatable. But if they're making their threes, they'll maybe win by 15. I don't know. They're still probably the favorites, but they play a different kind of. What are they averaging? 40 some threes, I think. 40
Yeah,
that
it's
they
it's
throw
something
up.
upside. Yeah.
Some games they're shooting 50. So. I don't know. The fellas, I think their biggest problem right now is point guard. Connolly is the other night in Oklahoma City. He was just getting stripped clean all night, and he just. I mean, God love him. He came in. He did great. He gave him some. He became the adult, as they said. But he looks his age right now. They got a lot of minutes out of him last year, and this year they and obviously Dillingham's not ready to play. Otherwise, he would be playing. But he gets I don't know. I saw him out there for about 8 minutes a week ago, and he was just completely lost. So I don't know. I you probably got to give him some run though, don't you? Try to figure out if he can play, or I mean, if he can.
He's
If he
out.
can,
He's out tonight.
oh,
He's injured.
yeah, that's right. He's had some kind of an injury, right? How did he get hurt? He hadn't played. Yeah, did he
Practice.
get it? Practice. Okay.
Supposedly got hurt in practice.
Yeah. They are getting a few minutes out of Minot now. That's good. I mean, that
Yeah.
guy can shoot. He's an offensive player. You got to play him some instead of McDaniels when you need
And Dante's
shooting.
improved of late as
Oh
well.
yeah, Dante's been fine. Dante's been fine. And I think really, I'll give myself credit for one thing. I was wrong about 100% of my Timberwolves thing, but I did say you got to play him and a Randall together, right? And play with the second
Yes.
unit and play a two-man game. Let him play a two-man game there. Randall can hog the ball then if he's playing with the second team instead of the first team. But I don't know. They're flawed. They're definitely flawed, and the Ant Man's not making a shot. So that's he's the funny thing is we kind of thought that it would give him freedom, and if he didn't have to worry about Cat, right, getting Cat some shots, but he seems a little lost without him, doesn't he? He
Yes.
doesn't really know who
Yes,
to
he
go to.
has.
He doesn't know who option B is now, right? He knew that Cat was option B. He's
Yes.
not. He doesn't know who that is right now because I think he's afraid if he throws it to Randall, he'll never see it again. So I don't know. He's probably a little confused about what's going on, and the fact he stopped making shots is. I think the most telling quote of the season was him about a week ago when he said every time he drives to the basket, there's four guys there. Because that was not the case last year, and it's the case this year.
And I think he swore too. So I hope he was fined a lot for that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's
Terrible.
let's get a union. You must pay some union dues, don't you? What can't
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they cannot tell you have to speak, and then if you happen to drop a word that's part of your language, that you basically talk that way, there's a lot of people with that same problem. You're even looking at one of them
I
at the
was gonna
moment.
say
I
you.
mean, yes,
It exists
you
on
know,
this show.
no, no, it doesn't. I try to avoid it on this show, but it becomes part of the speech. But he gets worked. He gets worked up. He's talking. It's a humorous thing. You can't just keep finding $100,000. Come on, I don't care how much he's making. It's it you know. You can't say, oh, hey, he's going to be the face of the franchise, but if he swears, we're going to try to fine him $250,000. I think they've reached the max, right? They can 100
Is it the max?
is
Okay.
Yeah,
the max
I
they
believe
can
so.
fine without having a hearing or something. So I don't know. He should just send him a check said, hey, if I send a check to your favorite charity for $1 million, can I just say what I want to say the rest of the season? How about that? It's silly. It's I know there's people offended, but that's the way it goes. It's modern America. Don't watch the NBA. If anyone, how many people that are terrified of the F bomb are big NBA fans? I don't think NBA is
Well, in the
a
locker
league.
room,
Yes,
what I don't get is it can be cleaned up. Like
yes,
the live on TV thing, but like I told you Unchained on Monday, just then you know what? Hold it through the next break, take out the F bombs, and then play
yeah.
it. We don't
Yeah,
need you
or
live.
yeah, and you're right about the locker room. That's their home. They should be able to say anything they want to in there.
Correct.
You can't fight them in there. But they're fight. One of them was for there, right? Wasn't it?
The first one was for the locker room
Locker
only.
room.
The
Yeah.
second one was for the FanDuel Sports North after that Houston
Okay.
game.
Yeah. So I mean, if he can just tell the BSN boys he's not going to do it, right?
Correct. I think
You
so.
know, I
Yes.
mean, he's got to just say, okay, get somebody else because you know, as much money as you have, it's got to irritate you that you got to keep sending this check in. So it's kind of stupid to say the least.
Hmm.
But
Pat, did you
he's
see the meltdown of kickers? The poor Texas kicker who couldn't make a dang kick yesterday in
boy,
the
is he a lucky young man that they threw that pass on 4th and 13, right? The game's over and they hit the 4th and 13, and then they go into overtime and they hit the first, and they hit a touchdown on the first play there too, right? And yeah, I did see the kick. That was that was a late breaker too, wasn't it? It looked like all of a sudden it just went whoosh.
doink.
Now when Blair Walsh missed his 28-yarder, it was outside from the get-go, right? It was
Yeah, it
just
wasn't close.
outside from the get-go. This one had a hook on it that was fantastic. It was unbelievable. I didn't watch much of the Get game, but I did see the end of it, which had a lot of fireworks to say the least. But I believe at this point, going into Notre Dame and Georgia today, the four teams that got the bye are 0-3, right?
Yeah,
Are
and
they
I think
not
we have
the
one close
conference
game.
champs?
I think that
Conference champs.
game was the lone
Yeah.
close game. And then what the hell happened in the Rose Bowl? Ohio State crushed them.
I said Ohio State was going to win. I saw the first game, watched quite a bit of it, at least the second half. And Ohio State was a better team, but they had a couple of calls that didn't go their way. They had a couple of bad breaks, and Oregon's explosive, and and it was at Oregon, and they snaked it out. But Ohio State, man, between the receiver who's what the hell was the defensive game plan that let him be either single covered or non-covered? How about the one play they showed to him that nobody covered him, and he had came down the field, fake left, and the guy went that way, and he was wide open. Jeremiah, right? Is it Jeremiah? What a what a what a stud! Why should he have to go back to college for 2 more years? Right? They still is the
Yeah, you can't.
NFL
Yeah.
still has the junior year. How do they get away with that? I mean, the NCAA, the basketball can't get away with it. I
Uh-uh.
would think we got to the way
Lawsuit?
things are going. The way things are going, I would think we got a lawsuit coming up pretty soon, don't you?
Probably.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
But man, he's a monster, and that running back who had a big game against the Gophers here a couple of years ago, and was a freshman, and he's kind of been under wraps. But what's his Henderson? What's his name? What's his name? The running back, man, he gets in the open field, forget it too. They got some athletes, there's no doubt about it. I think Ryan Day's back on the good graces. Although if he doesn't win at all, they'll probably be mad at him there, right?
And Michigan. Like if he can just beat them, he's absolutely fine. He's
Yeah,
golden.
well, now Michigan beat them in Alabama to end their season.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the Wolverines, who barely beat the Gophers, have ended up strong, and supposedly they're killing it with the NIL, thanks to the Ishbia boys.
Yep. And
They're
Dave
no
Portnoy at
Michigan State. They're
Barstool.
Michigan State.
Yeah,
Excuse
Michigan
me.
Yeah.
State's the
No, it's
issue.
it's Portnoy.
Michigan. Who do they
Portnoy.
have?
Portnoy from Barstool Sports
Is
he's a
NIL?
yes, he's huge.
Well, supposedly the quarterback that they stole away from LSU is getting 12 million. So I don't know when they say 12 million. Is that like a 3-year deal, or is
I don't
that
know.
1 year,
The
or what?
Vanderbilt kid is getting $1 million to come back. Jerry Kill's guy, he's getting $1
Yeah.
million. He'll never make $1 million in the pros.
No, no, God, no. He's a fat little guy.
I know.
Can't pass. I'm trying to do a piece for Sunday on this ruling. That, and the ruling, they're appealing it, but they have the NCAA, but they have given a waiver for 25, 26. So if you were a junior college athlete and your eligibility was done, you're I suppose because registration and everything, then they don't know how long it's going to take. But you got it. But you know what it says? It says NC anybody who wasn't in NCAA is got a waiver for next year. That means you got those, 60s, 80 NAIA teams that a guy can have played there he could play at Morningside for 5 years and he could be eligible to play next year at an NCAA college. So the way I read it, I don't know. It's but yeah, JUCO. I think the Gophers don't have many.
Yep.
They do have one in basketball, right? One, the guard, whatever the guard's name is.
Yeah, I think they've got one, but who knows?
They
I mean, the
got one.
Gophers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's it's unbelievable. Now they say they're going to try to come up with a new rule that everybody gets 5 years in a 5 year period. That's it. And then they're going to try to make it a five. You can play all the time in a 5 year period, but you can only play 5 years, which would have cost Parker Fox 3 years of eligibility for damn.
But the thing to go back to 2020, the thing that threw this entire thing out of whack was these COVID years.
When they said, we're going to give you all a COVID year. They should have not. They should have said, tough bananas. America suffered, the world suffered, and you suffered, right?
You've got 30-year-old tight ends from Miami crying when their 8th year of eligibility is up now because he got like 5 COVID years we don't even know about.
By the way, if he went to JUCO, he might have 2 more years. So I talked to the JUCO coach from Wapaton when I was doing it. By the way, I'm trying to get a hold of my guy Marcelio Mendez, the Johnny, who, great kid from Cretin, who went to Wapaton for 2 years and has only got 2 years at St. John's. And he said to me, there's guys who got out of high school 2 years before me who still got eligibility, and I'm done, But I got to call him because now he's got a year, and he has to go to school next year to get his degree, so he'll be playing again. And
hell yeah,
it's not official, and I think he wants to get his degree from St. John's. So he'll probably go to St. John's, but he also could go to a higher level. He could go to FCS or something if he wants to, because he's a really good little player and receiver. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just insane. And the NCAA, what I've been reading here anyway, is they're going to appeal, but more. Before they really get too involved in the appeal, they're going to try to set a standard that can hold up in court, and they don't really know what that is. So but you're right, Judd. They're making more money than they make in the NFL. Probably if he went to the NFL, if he got an invite to a camp,
correct,
he'd be on a practice squad somewhere. If he made a team as the 4th quarterback, he'd be on a practice squad somewhere.
Absolutely.
So it is a wild time. Meanwhile, our Gophers in the Mayonnaise Bowl get to play a team that's got about 8 of their players left and none of their coaches but hey,
I think it's 26, Pat. I think it's like 26 guys from the last game of the season on Virginia Tech to now are gone.
Yes, and 3 of the coaches, both
correct. He fired them.
Both coordinators. He had to fire him to save his job. It's a guy who was an assistant who was a coordinator. I'm not sure if defensive or offensive at Penn State, who got the job in its 3rd year, and he's on the way out. Well, they lost their opener to Vanderbilt. That's what because Vanderbilt might have had a good year this year, but it's still down there in the South. You lost to Vanderbilt. Right. It's still the same way. So yeah, it's I don't know. You can say it ruined college sports, but I'm kind of happy. It's all the hypocrisy of college sports has come flying out here, and they're bidding against each other, and the alma mater, and we're still trying to act like it has something to do with education, which it doesn't. So
they deserve chaos.
Oh God, yes. They do. Yeah, they have.
They deserve this.
Years. Well, they deserve chaos when when we formed an alliance that was going to sit together, and then 2 weeks later, Kevin Warren took UCLA, Washington, Southern Cal, and Oregon, and said goodbye. Pac-10. When they started, cutting each other up, they deserve anything they get first. There's no loyalty anywhere. But Georgia Notre Dame, boy, that is not a good deal in New Orleans, man.
Ooh,
What,
no.
no. And that the guy is military.
Yeah. Well,
Somewhere he got. He became an ISIS guy.
and don't forget the Super Bowl is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, security's going to be
So you want to talk about
insane.
it? Yeah, I was going to say that's going to
I
be quite the
think
security
though,
detail.
it's you don't know if this is isolated or not. That thing in Vegas doesn't sound like it's associated with it, but it was some crazy son of a gun that
Yeah.
blew it. It wasn't. I don't think it was the car blowing up. I think it was some guy because the coincidence of a Musk car in front of the Trump Tower is not.
Right.
That's too much of a coincidence to say the least. But that's Judd. You've been on Bourbon Street and you've been on the French
It's
Quarter the night before a big sporting event. You drive a car in there, you're going to get a lot of people.
yeah,
It's the most crowded place in
and
America.
how do you secure that too?
I
Like you
don't
can
know.
secure a stadium. There's a
Yes,
lot that you can do, but I mean Bourbon Street, there's no way to.
they have barricades up, but
Sure.
not really ones that can stop a big old truck.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, you're exactly
Are we
right.
good? We're going to let the crowd in today, though, right?
As far as I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they delayed it to let the crowd in.
yeah. The 3 o'clock, and they're going to play it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because they didn't want to compete with the Gator Bowl. Apparently, the ESPN already had the Gator Bowl, so
We can't
I
move the
don't
Gator
know.
Bowl up?
I don't know. Georgia's got their backup quarterback too, right? Beck's not playing.
Yes. Beck had
Beck's not
surgery.
playing. So, all right.
All
Well,
righty.
anyway, the idea that Tibbs and Cat didn't have a good relationship, he never missed a game for Tibbs here. Tibbs is the secret sauce with Cat.
Because he won't take him out. Carl probably has. My leg's broken too. Keep playing, Carl.
Yeah, that's right.
Just keep playing. Do
We're only up
whatever.
16 with 3.5 minutes to go to a team that's trying to lose. Stay out there. Go get him, buddy.
Love it.
Josh Hart, I think, had 44 minutes last night. It was already sealed. I love that guy.
Unbelievable.
He's crazy.
All right, we'll
sir.
preview Vikings and Lions tomorrow.
Okay, beautiful. See you.
All right. See you,
Goodbye.
Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick. Hit subscribe button. Reusse and Shane, appreciate you guys. We'll be talking at you soon.